is going down in Sheffield. Kell Brook versus Errol Spence is coming up real soon. It's coming up at the end of May. We are now at May 11, so we got about 2 weeks before we get one of the biggest welterweight fights to go down this year. So with all that being said, let me go ahead and give you guys my prediction. Alright? And I know I'm early. I normally do my predictions like the day before the actual goddamn fight. But fuck all that. I'm going to get my predictions in right now, 2 weeks ahead of time, way over schedule. So you know how I do. Alright, so with all that being said, let me go ahead and get into the predictions. Alright? Now, if Kell Brook and Errol Spence were both to come into the ring at their best, I believe that Errol Spence would win. Now, I know a lot of people have a problem with that because Kell Brook has a super following. You know, there's a lot of people in the UK who support Kell Brook and everything that he does and everything that he is and all that. But I gotta roll with Errol Spence in this one. I have to. All right, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm gonna emphasize the point that if both of them were to come in at their best. Now, if both of them were to come in at their best, I think that this would be a very competitive fight. I think it'd be pretty much a 50-50 fight, and it'd be competitive for all 12 rounds. I think that ultimately Errol Spence has the better skills. I think technically he's better. I think he's more versatile with not only his skill set, but his punch variation. I think he has the better boxing IQ. All right. I think that Errol Spence is a little stronger. I think that Errol Spence has youth on his side. I think Errol Spence is faster. I think ultimately Errol Spence will end up overwhelming Kell Brook. All right, ultimately that's just what will happen. I think that Errol Spence has the better experience. And I know a lot of people are going to jump up out of their seats when I say that shit. Hey, I get it. But if you really think about Errol Spence's record versus Kell Brook's record, it's really not that different. As a matter of fact, Errol Spence probably has the better competition on his record because he's fought a steady string of good fighters. Kell Brook hasn't. Kell Brook has fought bum, top tier welterweight, bum. And I'm not trying to disparage the people that are on Kell Brook's record, but the facts remain. I mean, in his first 20 fights, the losses were in the hundreds, okay, for the fighters that he fought. Kell Brook has fought a lot of people that do not belong in the ring with him. Can you really say that about Errol Spence? Errol Spence has at least 6 or 7 good welterweights on his record. Kell Brook has 2 good welterweights on his record. No, sorry, 1 good welterweight on his record, and then Triple G, which was a loss. Okay? And then on to the Triple G thing. Okay? Can you even really call that experience? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later into the video. But can you really even call that experience? The fact that he stepped into the ring with a bigger fighter and ended up getting stopped in the later rounds? Can you even really call that experience? I don't think so. That's not experience. Getting in the ring and getting stopped. I could get stopped. You can get stopped. I can find anyone to get stopped. So that ain't no damn experience. He really has 1 welterweight on his record, and that's Shawn Porter. And he barely won that fight. As opposed to Errol Spence, who's fought Chris Algieri, who's a decent welterweight. Okay, who's fought Leonard Bundu, who's a decent welterweight. Who's fought LaGreco, who are decent welterweight. These guys are decent welterweights. They're not world beaters by any means, but they're decent. So I give Errol Spence the edge when it comes to experience. He's fought the more solid competition over time. Kell Brook overall has fought the better welterweight, which is Shawn Porter, but Errol Spence has had a string of consistent performances over consistent steady opponents over time. So I give Errol Spence the edge when it comes to the experience. Okay? The technical skills and everything too. Now, if this fight was to take place with both fighters at their best, I would give the edge to Errol Spence. Okay? But that's hypothetical. Because in this particular fight, We're not getting both fighters at their best. We're getting one fighter at their best, at their prime, and we're getting another fighter who was just recently defeated by Triple G. Not even defeated, stopped. So you mean to tell me that you go up to 160 pounds, you fight Triple G, you lose to Triple G by getting stopped, and in your very next fight, you fight the toughest welterweight, arguably the toughest welterweight in the division? Are you kidding me? Let's back up here. Okay? Let's back up for a second. First of all, as a fighter, when you lose a fight, when you get stopped, okay, mentally that takes a toll on you, okay? In boxing, your mentality is everything. You go into the fight with your mindset on you winning, okay? You have a winning mentality. A winning mentality translates into you winning in the ring. So when you have a fighter like Kell Brook, who goes into the ring with Triple G, he gets stopped, okay? He carries that stoppage into his next fight, okay? That's why in boxing, you see that fighters, what they do when they lose a fight, they take rebound fights. They take fights to put them back into that winning mentality, to put them back in the right mindset in order to be successful. They take rebound fights. Kell Brook had no rebound fights. He's going from one championship level fight that he lost right into another. Excuse me. So, is we really going to get the best Kell Brook, considering his mentality, considering what's happened to him in the last fight? Of course he could take that and use it to his advantage as motivation. But the reality of the situation is he got stopped. Okay? So that's just one thing. Let's look at the weight thing. I mean, because Kell Brook just recently went up to 160 pounds. He had to build up all kind of muscle and all kinds of density to get up to 160 pounds and be conditioned and fit and compete at that weight. So now he has to lose all that muscle that he gained in the previous training camp. He has to burn all that off, which is much harder than just burning fat. So he has to burn all that muscle he gained in the last fight, burn it off in the very next fight versus Errol Spence, who is arguably the best welterweight in the division. Okay? For that weight, Errol Spence aside, the weight thing and the mentality thing, that by itself, I would be concerned for any fighter. I would be looking like, damn, I don't know about this one. I mean, he's coming off of a loss and this type of thing. I don't know. I would be concerned about any fighter going into a fight like this off of that kind of change. So, at the end of the day, I see Errol Spence winning this fight. I see him stopping Kell Brook in 8. I think that ultimately Errol Spence is just going to be too much. He's going to be too versatile. He's going to do too much. He's going to beat Kell Brook with his punch selection. He's going to beat Kell Brook with his speed. He's going to beat Kell Brook with his work ethic. He's going to beat Kell Brook with his footwork. He's going to beat Kell Brook with his boxing IQ. Okay? And he's going to end up stopping this guy in 8. And I think that we would get a better fight if Kell Brook was at his best. But it's pretty clear to me that he's not. So, with all that being said, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Hit it up in the comment section below. You can also hit me up on Twitter, BoxX or XDie. You can also hit me up on Facebook, Box -sign or -sign die. But until next time, it's your boy Dynamite signing out. Oh yeah, subscribe, all that shit. Like the video, share the video, all that shit. But until next time, holla at your motherfucking boy.